it's Anthony of the Rag Company, and welcome to Wash Wednesday. In today's video, we're putting on some polos, drinking some Mai Tais, and Jake, what are we taking?
Anthony, today we'll be hitting the country club in a 1990s Mercedes SL500.
Alright guys, so today's video we're going to be doing a rinseless wash. Now Jake, have you ever done a rinseless wash?
I have not, nope.
Have you ever washed a car?
No, I've only taken it to the car wash.
Okay, what do you typically pay for that?
Yeah, $8-9.
Oh, he's cheap as well. So
I am a cheap one.
You're a cheap one, but hey, that's why you're a car salesman, right?
Yep, absolutely. And we can't be cheap on this car. I mean, this is a Mercedes SL. It was original sticker price, $83,000, and this does not deserve to go through the car wash.
No, it doesn't. That's why we're going to get cleaned up. So this isn't your car, right? You actually sell cars, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Are you in the market for one?
I am not in the market, but...
So I heard you have a soft spot for red vehicles.
Yeah, where'd you hear that from?
And this one does have a 500cc V8, 320 horsepower.
Jeez, okay,
yeah,
all right.
We're offering no interest on cash deals.
Oh, no way! What a deal, man. Okay, well, he's already talking me into it, guys, so who knows? I might be the owner of an SL500 by the end of today's Wash Wednesday. But anyway, we got to get back to this. So the plan is a rinseless wash. We're going to teach you how to do that, right? Get you away from the $8 washes. So maybe on your own cars, you can do the same process. And then we're going to be doing a one-step polish, which I think is going to really add some life to this vehicle. We're going to be using our newly found amazing combination of Rupes Uno Protect and PNS Bead Maker. That combo is a force to be reckoned with. So we're going to be doing that today. Getting started, we got to grab some product and get going.
All right, cool, let's get to it.
All right, Jake, so we have the product pulled. So we're gonna be using 1 bucket a day with 2 ultra black sponges and 2 IK multi-sprayers.
All right.
So the real question is, have you ever shared a bucket with another man?
I have not, no, this is gonna be first.
Have you ever shared a sponge with another man?
I have not, no.
Well, that's good, because you have your own sponge, but we will be dipping from the same bucket.
All right, cool, sounds good to me.
All right, so coming down here, right, so these are the sponges. So you'll wanna squat down
a little
here.
quart they cut. Oh, they got grooves in them.
Yeah, they
do.
So they have some grooves in them, and this is how they're actually cut from manufacturing.
Okay.
But this shape is kind of what's really cool. It's really ergonomic. It feels really good in the hands. And this actually uses a softer foam than the big red sponge, which was kind of the previous version. It still exists, right? But this is kind of the new and improved version of that. And so basically the idea is that when you dip your sponge inside the solution, you don't want it soaking. You want it to where you can see kind of a line to where you have some liquid there.
Okay.
So kind of lift that up. I'd squeeze out just a little bit more. And that's pretty much where you want to have it, right? So we'll be taking that to the vehicle once we pre-spray it, but you can actually flip over the sponge. The moisture will drop to the other side, and you have 2 sides that you can use.
Perfect.
Now this is a very safe sponge. It's not going to scratch your car. People get worried about that all the time. But with the method that we're going to be doing today, it's going to be pretty safe and pretty simple, especially because this car is already pretty clean. So set that down for a quick second. Grab yourself your weapon.
A little pre-fire. I've never shared a bucket before.
Accidental discharge right off the bat. Don't take this guy to a firing range. Jeez. Okay. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pre-spray this, and how this is gonna work. It's already pumped up. We're gonna be applying the O&R to the surface, just like that. Yeah. Make sure you're pointing in the right direction. Right. Perfect. There you go.
Awesome.
And so we're going to soak down the whole car. Right.
Yep.
Pump the thing up as necessary, soak it down. Once we soak it down, the product will begin to work on the surface, and we'll begin to start to emulsify and encapsulate that dirt, and then we'll be able to take our sponge and clean everything up.
Okay, cool. For the wash, do we go panel to panel or do the whole car at once?
Good question. We are going panel to panel, doing a single panel at a time, and then we're going to be dipping it back into the solution and releasing all those contaminants and stuff. So, all right, let's continue spraying here. We have a long day ahead of us, Jake. Polishing, cruising, going to the country club, sipping some Mai Tais with some, you know, a couple older women, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that works with me. I'm clocked in right now.
It's like a fine wine here, and this is kind of the color of wine, right? So I feel like we're on the right path. I am pretty excited to polish this thing out though. We're not going for perfection, but we're trying to enhance the gloss, make this obviously easier for you to sell, right?
I thought it's already sold.
What?
Yeah, I thought you were taking it home tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
So in these sprayers here, is this just water or is there a chemical in here as well?
This is a chemical as well. So this is O&R. This is the same stuff that we actually have inside those buckets.
Yep.
It's basically a polymer product, right? Which is pretty scientifically advanced, right? It's more advanced than your typical soap.
Yep.
So this is actually going to do more work than soap is going to do. And it's going to kind of have some self-cleaning abilities once it gets onto the surface. But also, it's just a really, really efficient and affordable product, right?
Yep.
We're using literally less than $1 worth of product to be able to do this, and we can still continue to reuse this product. So chances are, once we're done washing the car, we'll still use the same solution for cleaning the wheels.
Ah, cool. Awesome.
All right, so I think it's pretty well soaked. What do you think?
I think so too.
You can tell by all the water dripping on the floor, all the O&R dripping on the floor, I guess I should say. So here's the deal. We're gonna come down here. Which sponge do you want?
I'll take the right one.
Okay, what, depending on your angle, this is your right?
That's my right.
Okay, then I will take this one. So you can see that it is dripping, right? So I'm gonna take this, glide it along the surface, go back and forth like this, make sure you don't miss any areas, and then flipping it over to the other side, letting that solution kind of drain down to the bottom,
Yep.
and then kind of continue on. This thing needs a clay. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but listen to this. This is it's clean paint,
Yep.
right? But it's contaminated. So we will have to do something about that for sure. So going through, we're gonna clean up the windows. You can start on that side,
Yep.
and we're gonna be working from top to bottom. There you go. Man, you're like a pro already. You got the swipe, you got everything.
The flip.
The flip, oh yeah. Well, you can go a little bit faster than that, Jake. I mean,
This is a Mercedes SL we're talking about here. Just like those older ladies, you got to crest them nice and slow.
They just don't make them like this anymore, you know? It's just one of those things, right?
There's not many around anymore, so I'm going to take my time and treat her well.
You gotta treat them right. They're delicate and fragile. You definitely don't want them to trip and break a hip, so. Oh, man. All right, so now for the mirrors and stuff, what I kind of like about the Ultra Black sponge is that it's able to contour, so I'm able to kind of, you know what I'm saying? I can squeeze it around, get into tighter areas as needed.
Yep, those weird crevasses.
Yes, right? Nothing like getting in the crevices of an older like now.
30-year-old?
Yeah, a 30-year-old. Jeez, I'm 30.
All right, I'm down here.
This is as old as I am. Okay, so you're down there. Yep.
Cleaning off the contaminants that we wiped off on the first rinse.
And those are going to go below the grit guard there. Is how that works.
So we're not going to pick them back up?
Yep.
Perfect. Let her drip. I'll start on the hood.
Now, because we are polishing this, I'm not super worried about being the most meticulous and careful about, if we, let's just say if we're wiping from bottom to top, right, which typically you wouldn't want to do. The way I see it is we're gonna be polishing this anyways, and it's gonna be receiving a couple different wipe downs in between everything. How does it feel detailing in that getup that you have on?
It feels pretty good. I'm getting a little wet on the pants here, but that's okay. They're nice and breathable.
Nice, that's good, that's good. Well, you wouldn't expect any less for going to the country club, right?
You know what I mean? I had a dress for the occasion.
Yep.
Can't be drinking Mai Tais, not in style.
Now, if you ever get to a part where there's like bug contamination or tree sap or anything like that, you can scrub with this thing. You're not going to do any damage.
Yep.
But sometimes some of that stuff will be on there a little bit too hard, right? To where basically the sponge is almost too soft to be able to deal with that.
And is that what the clay bar you were talking about is used for?
Yep, and that's what we would clay for. There is only one wiper. That's actually extremely convenient. Do you like that about these things?
I do, and to be honest, when it gets to the middle, it extends out a little bit farther to get to the top of the windshield. So the thing is pretty unique.
Oh, they thought about all that. What's also kind of different is this body paneling, right? So you have metal on top, plastic down below.
Yep, and that's what gives it that two-tone look.
Okay.
Because the paint absorbs different into metal than plastic.
It does. Some people would think that's a flaw. I call it a feature. All right.
Call that the 90s.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
It's a good time to be alive.
Get some wood paneling on this bad boy. Jake, what year were you born?
I was born in 1996, so 6 years after this car was manufactured.
Heck yeah, man. So you lived the 90s then. You know what it was all about.
Yeah, I was a 90s child, I could say.
Yeah, 4 years, you know.
You know, I was thriving.
4 years vibing, wearing, you had your gecko shirts, you know what I'm saying? You had your
the bowl cut, haircut.
Oh yeah, man. Who didn't have the bowl cut? That was all this was all about.
That was me and the friend group right there.
I guess the real question is how many golf clubs can you fit in the back of this bad boy?
You can fit 3 sets.
No.
3 sets, no doubt.
Are you
Absolutely.
making that up?
3 sets.
Did
We've
you-
already
did you-
tried. Yeah, we went out to Quail Hollow. So for you guys in the Boise area, Quail Hollow, it's a publicly course. We went out there. Me, the boss, and his son. We took this out, fit 3 pairs of clubs. That's all you can ask
Jeez.
for, right?
Jeez.
But the hard thing was you can only fit 2 people in the car, so we had to Uber one of us. But you know, it's worth
I thought
it.
you were about to say you can fit 2 people in the trunk, but I mean it's not my business. But that's pretty crazy, man. That's awesome. So whoever wants to pick this thing up, right? They'll be able to go hit some golf balls. You know, obviously drink some Mai Tais. Maybe don't drive and drink, but
No, that's, yeah, but when you're sitting yourself a vehicle like this, you can always get yourself a chauffeur too.
You could, yes, you can.
You won't be sitting in the back, but you'll be sitting right next to him.
Well, that's what the trunk's for, right? All right, Jake, so this right here is called
what do we got?
the Gauntlet, right? We like to say that we're throwing down the Gauntlet whenever we use these towels, but don't actually throw it down on the ground because then we would have to get you a new one. So this right here is a dual-sided drying towel. It's really cool, 2 different colors.
Okay.
Got a buttersoft suede edge, a really, really cool kind of weave. So this is a combination of a twist loop weave and kind of like a flared twist loop is what we kind of call it, right? To where it's kind of a plush mix of towel. This towel is freakishly absorbent, and this could do the entire car by itself, but we're gonna do 2 because it's overkill, right? We wanna make sure that this old lady's taken care of, am I right?
Yep, let's go ahead. And before we do, does it matter what side we start on the towel?
Choose your color, man. If you wanna choose like the good side versus the dark side, like in terms of Star Wars.
Yep. I'm a dark side type of guy.
Are you?
Yeah, Darth Vader's the man.
I kind of figured so by the hair, but I'm not judgmental at all. So what we're gonna do, it doesn't matter how we dry this thing. This whole thing is gonna be dry, in literally just a couple passes. So basically we're gonna go through, get everything all cleaned up, flip the towel as needed, and you'll notice that once the towel starts to get more and more damp, it absorbs better, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of just a feature of microfiber is that, the wetter it gets, I shouldn't say that. I would say that when it gets damp, it absorbs better, right? But there's a point where we'll get too wet. You're like, okay, this is heavy. This is just dragging streaks, right? We need to swap it out or we need to wring it out. But this towel, you'll find that there's a long way to go before that happens.
And you say one of these can dry an entire car?
Oh, easily, yeah.
Easily, okay.
Easily. And so, it'll dry a whole truck. Yeah, I mean, this has been a really, really awesome towel. A lot of our fans and a lot of followers of the Rag Company have just been loving this thing. And so, who knows though? We're always trying to improve, so there could be a new and improved version eventually. But there is almost no protection on this thing. There's a little bit of some kind of either quick detailer or wax, but there's not a real sealant or anything major on the car. So I think once we get this thing protected with Uno and Bead Maker, it's gonna look pretty killer. All right, Jake, so we just got the car dried and it looks pretty great, man.
I'd have to agree with you.
Pretty pumped on it. So the plan is we're going to get it up on the lift, right? We're actually gonna start polishing it, getting it all clayed and then getting it polished. And then we're gonna save the wheels for very, very last because then everybody's like, what about the wheels? It's gonna happen, guys, don't worry. So we wanna get polished up first, so let's get on the lift and get started.
All right, cool.
All right, Jake, so this car sure does look good on this lift,
She
right?
does indeed.
All she needed was just a little bit of pick-me-up, right?
Hey, that's all she needed.
After she fell off the wheelchair a couple times. So let's go ahead and get started, right? So what I have here is I have our clay lube, and this is in the IK multi-sprayer as well, like we were using earlier, right? My favorite way to spray clay lube, because there's no trigger spray or anything like that. We just pump it up, set it to the mist setting, and go. Have you ever clayed a car before?
I have not. This will be a first as well.
All right, so we're using Optimum Clay today. They discontinued this a long time ago, but we found some and we wanted to make use of it because we like it, so we're using it.
Vintage like the car, baby.
Yeah, there you go, right? Some things get older with time, right? So we're gonna go ahead, spray this down. And so when I'm spraying this mist, I'm trying to get as much even coverage as I can, right? Because this is going to allow the clay bar to glide really, really easily along the surface, all right? And what I also like to do is flatten out my clay bar, give that a spray too, to kind of get it started a little bit, right? And then from there, we're gonna take it to the car, right? And we're going to start kind of gliding it along the paint, right? Now the idea is to glide it to where you feel less friction, right? We don't want to sit there and we don't be scrubbing the paint because it's going to start really marring it and doing damage that we'd have to take out during polishing. The idea is to use plenty of clay lube, keep it going, and go through. And what's kind of cool is that this mist allows you to see where you've gone, right? So you can obviously see I've clayed here, but I haven't clayed up here. So just follow the mist line, go through, knock that stuff down, and this is already feeling a ton better. So I'll have you do this portion of the hood right here. Let me know how that feels.
All right, I'll get you feedback here in a second.
Yeah, it doesn't need a whole lot of pressure.
No, it doesn't. You just kind of glide it over.
Yeah, just let it do the work. What are your thoughts?
Thoughts are the paint feels pretty good. It's pretty smooth for being 30 years old.
Yeah, no, it does feel pretty good.
I see some rock paint chips.
Yep, all normal stuff.
That's normal for a 30-year-old.
So one thing that you'll find with traditional clay bars, right, there's this thing where you'll have clay stall, right? And that's where you're claying.
And it stops.
It stops, right?
Is there not enough moisture on the hood?
It's either not enough moisture or basically it just kind of grabs some friction and it kind of just stuck onto something, right? So you don't want to let that stick on there. Pull that thing off, right? And sometimes when that happens, you'll have a, I call it just a clay mar, right? It's not really a scratch, right? It's more of just a very surface level kind of discoloration in the paint, right? Typically that can be fixed with polishing. Sometimes it's just clay residue that you can just pick off with your nail. So don't worry about that when it happens. But we have a whole car to do here, right? With very little time. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna spray, you're gonna say a prayer,
and put some elbow grease into it.
Some elbow grease in this bad boy. We got this thing. So I'll have you do this side of the car. I'll knock out the other side of the car. We'll get it down so we'll be able to hit the roof and the top areas. Are you ready to do this?
Perfect.
Are you excited to do this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you freaking
I'm
pumped to
ready,
do this?
baby.
Let's freaking do this!
All right, so it looks like it's time for me to refold my clay. Just flatten her back out like earth.
Yep, absolutely. So you just want to just knead that thing in, right? Just really kind of work it with your thumbs. You get your fingers in there too if you want. And so just don't poke a hole in it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm very good at this.
So this is actually a pretty tough clay, right? So this is actually a pretty, it's not a fine grade clay, it's kind of like a medium to harder grade clay. So typically you wouldn't really use this unless you were planning on polishing or doing some type of correction of some sort because it is just firmer. But what I like about this car is that it's got harder clear coat, right? And this Mercedes clear from the 90s is hard stuff,
as it comes.
Right? Yeah, so yeah, basically, so I'm not really worried about marring it because like I said, we are going to be doing a one step on it and cleaning it up. And we're not going to be removing all the imperfections, but it'll be a lot better. But you know, we call it going hard in the clay, right?
Going hard in the clay.
As me and Levi kind of say, right? So, you know, get yourself some more lube there. Just really, you know, and the thing is...
So you got that little short stroke going. You like that or the long, gentle sweeps?
I mean, different strokes for different folks. So it's whatever you're into, really. I mean, basically, I'll kind of do a combination, right? So if I feel a really contaminated area, I'll do the shorter strokes to kind of get in there. But if I'm feeling like it's smooth and it's gliding, then I'll go for the longer strip passes.
Okay.
Now what's kind of cool too is, I don't know if you know this, Jake, but you can also clay glass.
I did not know that. I would not expect that.
You can hit your glass with clay, and that'll get rid of some old bug marks or whatever you have on there. So get some nice and clear it up.
Well, if your clay bar is new, you should break it in on glass first.
Yeah, and that's an easy way to break it in to kind of get it going. you know, get it warmed up, I guess I should say. You know, something this old, right? You got to kind of get started.
Yeah, you got to let it run for a second to warm up before you put compression in that.
Yeah, you don't want cold fluids.
You don't want cold fluids. So I got a question here for the camera. Would this clay work anything on this grill right here that's a little stained, or is it just not even worth it?
Dane, answer the question.
You know, you can give it a try. See if it becomes smoother. It's definitely not something
Designed for it, because...
No, I mean, you can definitely do it. It's just a matter of whether or not it's faded enough that you would have to actually recoat it or something.
Yeah, it feels like, because this is where all the bugs and rocks are going to hit. It's not.
Or is it metal?
It feels like a plastic, yeah. Yeah, we're looking at plastic here. You know, it is a Mercedes, but, you know, for weight distribution, for that pure 49-51 weight distribution, they had to compensate around a few corners.
All right, guys, so now it's time for the main event. Jake, are you excited?
I'm pretty damn excited.
Excited to get your hands dirty, get some polishing. You know.
I didn't know you were going to put me to work today, but I'm ready.
Heck yeah, man, you didn't dress for, well, I guess you did dress for the occasion, just more to sell me a car.
Yeah, it was
Not
pretty
really
successful at that, too.
Dang it. Okay, so how this is gonna work, guys, we're using Uno Protect along with the Rupes machine. I'm gonna show Jake here kind of how to polish. This isn't gonna be a how to polish tutorial, but he's gonna get started on probably the trunk. If you get the trunk done, we'll be happy, because me and Levi over here are gonna be knocking out the rest of the car. So this process is pretty simple. So we have Uno Protect here with a broken cap, but just don't look at that. And we're gonna be applying a decent amount of product to our pad. So what you're gonna do, Jake, is you're gonna apply your 4 pea-sized dots, however your peas are. You know, do you like them big, do you like them small?
Medium to large.
You know, GMOs, non-GMO?
Non-GMO, organic all the way.
Ooh, I like that. So what we're gonna do, you're gonna take the machine here. This is the Melee. It's pretty simple because it's gonna rotate no matter what, right?
Okay.
You wanna put your cord over your shoulder, and I'm gonna have you work on like a speed setting of probably 2.5 to 3, right? Because you can't mess that up. You're gonna press the trigger, and then you're gonna lock it. That's an example right there, right? So you can work it for longer than that if you'd like to. The idea behind Uno is that it's a polish and protectant, right?
Yep.
So as we're polishing and fixing some minor stuff, it's adding a sealant, it's adding some protection. So it's a really useful one-step tool. If you hit the trim or anything like that, don't worry about it, because the next step is gonna show you how we fix that. Pizza!
Pizza time!
Man,
Cut. Cut on set. So I got a question here for you. My question is, how long does those 4 pea-sized droplets last? I mean, you did about a foot section there. Can you do the whole trunk on that? Should you apply more?
Good question, right? So I go by basically how the product is beginning to appear on the paint, right? So if I start to see it starting to dry out, or if it's just not starting to spread evenly, that's when I know I probably need a little bit more product. Sometimes you can spread some water onto the pad to kind of extend it a little bit further. But I'll tell you right now, the amount of passes I did was about half the working time you could probably continue to work, right?
Okay.
You could work that in until a lot of these snail trails kind of start to dissipate into the paint and kind of start to disappear.
Yep.
It's all kind of up to you, right? There's no real wrong or right way to use this product, because as long as you're getting it on there, if you want to keep working it, the more you work it, the more imperfections you're going to work out. But regardless, you're still getting some of that sealant on the paint as well, right? Yep. So you're going to get a couple months out of that for protection, but I'm going to show you how to take it to the next level. So this right here, bead maker, right? Everybody, you probably know what bead maker is if you've been watching this. Do you know what bead maker is?
I am not. So is that what keeps the water from just rolling right off? And it forms it into little beads?
Heck yeah. I mean, well, is that the name give it away?
I think the name gave it away a little bit.
Okay, that's too easy. So basically, bead maker is a short-term spray sealant, right? So typically you could spray this on a car after a wash, or you can spray it after a detail to protect the paint and kind of lock it in. What we've done is we've established this new method, right? We've created this new method that basically combines bead maker with Uno for a very easy wipe off and more protection, right? So I'm gonna show you what I mean here. What I want you to do, take this towel, I want you to wipe the top half of this right here, but don't touch this portion. And that's good. Flip the towel and re-wipe that area. And that here, yep, perfect. And it feels pretty good, right?
Yep, nice and smooth.
Nice and smooth, right? So, you want it to feel smoother than that?
I think so.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take bead maker here, and we're gonna do spritz there. Now take that same towel, re-wipe that area.
The bottom area or the top?
The whole thing, just re-wipe it in, everything in. Make sure you grab a firm control of that towel, spread it in, wipe it off, flip that towel around.
Just like your other chemicals. This one's got a nice
It's
pleasant
got a
smell
nice,
to it.
Got a nice smell to it. But that's not what I want you to focus on. So Jake, what I want you to focus on, feel this compared to this, right? You'll notice that this bottom portion it's slick. It's extremely, extremely slick. So take
yeah, and a little rougher up here.
A little rougher up there.
A little more friction.
Now, just for scientific purposes, now take the back of your hand here and rub the back of that with the back of your nail.
Ooh. Definitely a little slicker down here.
So it's slicker, but what I like about this process is when I spray bead maker onto an area, if I were to have hit the trim or if I were to have hit emblems or things like that I want to clean up, the bead maker helps the cleanup go faster, right? And it makes everything feel slicker. So this is one of those things where it actually speeds up the process. So if I had like residual compound inside some area or polish in this case, to where it's dried up in certain areas, a couple sprays of bead maker, go over that area, wipe it in, flip the towel, call it good, right?
Yep.
And so now I'm adding protection to not just the areas that I polished, but literally every adjacent area that I may have not hit with my polisher, right? It's pretty much a perfect system,
yep.
And we already know that the paint is completely clean because we've already clayed and we've already wiped and done all of that. So it's pretty foolproof. So
yep.
Now that you've seen the idea behind polishing, right?
Yep.
I want you to try this for yourself. So
all right, let's get
I'm gonna
to it.
have you polish right here in the middle of this hood. You're gonna grab that Uno there. I'll let you do the 4 pea-sized drops. Be careful, it comes out fast. There you go, there you go, there you go. I'll take that from you.
Thank you.
So you're gonna put that cord over your shoulder. Bring that down to he's already got his hair tied back, which is convenient. And so, there you go. So that's on 2, that's the lock button, so bring it down to the paint. There you go. You're gonna want it to have, there you go. Make sure it's flat. And relax your grip, yeah. You're kind of holding that thing like Bruce Lee right now. Yeah, just let the polisher do the work. He's doing a good job. Then you're gonna go up and do that same process like that. Ooh. Good. Cut it, click it in, perfect. So one thing, a couple things I noticed, right? Yep. Your grip was a little off at first, but you finally adjusted. And the other thing too, you don't want to start spinning the machine before it hits the paint because that's where you're gonna get the fling from all the polish, right? So you're gonna end up wearing that, right? So all you have to do on this entire car is make sure that this trunk looks perfect, right?
Should be easy enough for me.
That's all you have to do. Me and Levi are gonna knock out the rest, and we're gonna be using the same process. We're gonna be switching up the machine. So I'm gonna be using a 15 Mark III with a coarse wool pad from Rupes. Levi's gonna be using a 21 Mark III with a coarse wool pad. And we're gonna be doing a traditional 1-step. So we're not gonna be doing multiple pads. We're using just Uno, those pads, cleaning up with bead maker, locking everything in, and this thing's gonna look freaking awesome.
Cool. Let's get to it.
Let's do it. All right, Jake, what do you think, man?
I think we're finished up, right?
This looks great.
It looks pretty good to me.
It's got a nice like haze to it, you know what I mean? Pull
Yeah,
this
it's
out in
got
direct
the
sunlight.
little waves to it.
Yeah,
I think
right?
It adds texture to it.
Some Mr. Miyagi marks. I think it just kind of complements the car, right?
Yeah.
It kind of takes it to the next level.
It brings its age out.
Yeah, so, well, I guess, guys, in all seriousness. So what we've done to bring everybody up to speed is we've gone over the entire car with Rupes Uno Protect, right? So Rupes Uno Protect is pretty cool because you can actually leave it sit for a little bit. You don't have to immediately remove it because the longer it sits, more of that sealant is going to kind of work its way into the paint. So it's not a bad thing to let it sit. And it's still easy to remove, but going back to what we were showing you before, removing it with bead maker makes it even easier to remove. And we've done this in direct sunlight, we've done this in the dark, we've done this in the shade, we've done this in a closet. We've done this in a lot of different places, and it always works out. So bead maker here, we got the 32-ounce bottle. You can find this at theridecompany.com. If you ever want to pick up a big 32-ounce bad boy, the Tolco sprayer, look no further. This thing's freaking amazing. So what I was trying to tell you guys before earlier, right? So when you are polishing or you are compounding, whatever the heck you're doing, it's common, right, to have transfer onto the trim. It's common to have dusting onto the windows. It's, all that stuff happens when it comes to just polishing paint with a machine. But this is where bead maker is truly amazing because I can come into this entire quarter area, right? The window needs to be clean, this trim needs to be cleaned up, and all of this polish has to be removed, right? Take my bead maker, mist it on, a couple sprays in the towel for good measure. I'll come through, knock out my windows, clean out my trim, and then come down and start removing. Oh my gosh. Do you see how easy that is? It's literally amazing. Guys, it's amazing. Look at the difference. I mean, here, I'll flip the towel.
In what, about 5 seconds there?
Dude, that, you know, the thing is, so Jake, you don't know this,
Yep.
I know you don't detail, right? But coming from me, coming from Levi, with how fast this makes things and how good this freaking looks when
Yep.
you remove that, it's just awesome, man.
Unbeatable.
It's awesome. It's my favorite combination right now in terms of a one-step or like a money-making combo, because nobody, depending on what you're getting paid for, man, like this isn't a full correction, but this is easily, you know, a couple $100s in the bank for sure, doing something like this. So come through, hit that with B, make one more time. And what's nice, and another thing, this is gonna be kind of some detailing terminology, is that basically the bead maker helps the polish flash off faster, right? It basically, to where, you know, one wipe and it kind of just disappears into the surface, whereas typically that wouldn't happen, right? If you have a damp towel, it might spread it a little bit. If it's like water, or if you have like O&R, it'll spread it, but it won't like remove it, right? So it's kind of like a cool little effect that it has there, and having two towels kind of helps because you can go back through, but I'm just flipping this one and it seems to be doing the job, so.
And I noticed you're doing long strokes, no swirling action.
Yep, I'm just doing just normal wipes. But I mean, dude, that looks killer.
Yeah, what a difference between that and the rest of it.
Wow. I'm in love. Oh, more of an audience. Okay. Well, anyways, guys, so now that you know the plan, so we're gonna go through, get this car all cleaned up. You know the steps we're gonna take. We're gonna be using a lot of bead maker. We're gonna be using several towels, getting all this polish removed, and this thing's gonna be looking awesome. Ready for some Mai Tais?
Absolutely, let's go.
All right. All right, Jake, so we got the car up in the air now because it's finally time to tackle the wheels.
Yep.
It looks great.
It looks really good.
It looks really good.
I can't lie, she looks like a beauty.
For a one-step, man, you can tell that there's a lot more gloss popping. I think the color's more vibrant. I think it looks really, really good. But we don't want to forget about the wheels. Now, here's the deal. The wheels are in okay shape. Let's just say some of the paint's flaking off, right? So not a huge priority to get these things perfect because you can only make them as good as they are. But I am going to show you how we're going to clean it. So we've got the carpet in the air, got my handy-dandy trash can underneath here to catch all the runoff. So what we're going to do a pre-spray with the O&R, just like we've done on all other processes. Kind of let that soak there for a second. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our brake buster here. So I'm going to be using it straight, and we're just going to do a couple sprays on the face of the wheel, do a quick ring around the tire. See what I mean about that trash can?
Comes in handy.
Right? That would have been on the floor, man. Who's picking that up?
Not us.
Not us, right? Okay. Anyway, so from there, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our green wheel brush, which is seeing a lot of use, so it's looking a little more forest green, not kind of mossy.
I like the color on her.
Algae, maybe?
Algae, that's it, right there.
I like it. Okay, so we're gonna take this and we are going to scrub. I'm gonna try not to make too much of a mess because I don't want to get stuff all over that clean paint. Go through, kind of do a ring. Kind of wish I had the shorter version of this, to be honest, right now, but we're gonna make this work. So it still looks pretty bad, but we're gonna just, you know, we're rolling with it, man. We're having fun, we're having a good time. Just a couple guys sitting here with a 90s car, just living it up.
Absolutely.
We're gonna clean the tires up though.
And I mean, the tires look great looking behind the steering wheel, so it doesn't bother me none.
So these aren't super bad. You can see some of the browning coming off on them.
Coming up,
But it's not the worst I've ever seen. Ooh, down there.
Oh yeah, look at that.
You can really see some of that coming off. That is pretty brown. Call this a rolling brownout. Name that movie.
Well, I can't.
Okay, all right.
Surpasses my knowledge.
Okay, cool. So that's gonna be sitting there. Let that soak for a second. And I'll typically come in, smaller detail factory brush, get the lug bolts. That's a perfect fit. Holy crap.
Absolutely. Attention to detail.
See if I can just get it in there. There you go. I'll typically get the corners, any areas that I may have missed with a bigger brush, and then call it good. So then from here, all we're doing is we're gonna re-rinse with the IK sprayer. Get all that off of there.
Yeah, she just washes away.
All right, so then from there, what we're gonna do is we're going to dry the face of the wheel the same way as before.
Yep.
With some lovely beat. You see how many uses this thing has, man?
Yeah,
Beat Maker's amazing.
multi-purposeful.
Multi-purposeful, I like that, yeah. And so, sit there, get everything cleaned up. Like you can see, man, this paint is just hammered. Don't let this deter you from buying this car. It's a fantastic car.
No, everything else
right?
besides the wheels are good.
Nothing a little duplicolor you can't fix, man. You know, basically get that on there and you'll be set. You'll be in a smooth running vehicle. Life will be good. So for the tires, we're gonna be using Shine All, right? So it's a water-based dressing. So I'm actually gonna apply it to the wet tire and work it in because it's actually gonna help it kind of spread a little bit easier, right?
Ah, okay.
May not be as concentrated, but it'll do the job for the time being because I mean, you're selling this car in what, a day?
Yeah, about a day.
About a day,
hours,
right?
Couple hours
Couple
here.
hours, right? When do I get off? Okay, so
Should be 5 or 6, right?
5 or 6. So we're gonna give it a quick ring around the tire here. And so with water-based dressings, they do, like, water will help them spread, basically. Just, like I said, it's not gonna be as concentrated, so you might not get the full effect, but it will make them easier to wipe in. So we're gonna take the side of our towel, spread that in. If you're worried about overspray or anything like that, take your other towel, come back through, clean up any of the overspray, or bead maker towel, and call that good. But yeah, what do you think?
She's looking good. She's shining like the rest of the car now.
I like it, man. Cool. So that's gonna be the process for literally all other 3 wheels, right?
Yep.
So let's just knock them out, get them done, get this thing on the ground. We got some golfing to do.
Let's go. Looking good. Some tire dresser. Black rag.
Dang, check that.
Oh, look at that. Looking pretty. This 30-year-old girl never looked so good.
Well, we weren't kidding when we said we're heading to the country club.
Nope.
Yeah. Here we are, boys. So we're gonna grab a few Mai Tais, you know, relax, kick our feet up, admire the beautifully glossy car, the SL500, available for sale.
Through Legacy Auto Sales.
Legacy
Local
Auto
here to
Sales.
Boise.
There you go, man. So if you're interested in the car, it may or may not be available by the time you're watching this, but hey, hopefully it is, right? And
If
hopefully
so,
you
reach
dig it.
out.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Cool, man. Well, hey, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining the show and coming along. And what do you say we head inside there, go grab a club sandwich, Mai Tai, relax, play some golf later.
Sounds good to me. I appreciate the hospitality, and let's go get to it.
Sounds like a plan. So if you guys like this video, make sure to give us a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below for more. Stay tuned for more videos right here at the Rag Company.